Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now the afternoon session time now, and just before going into each speaker's presentation, just to briefly introduce ourselves. I'm a co-chair of this session, Toshiyuki Kajiya, director of EXPO, and I hope thanks to your cooperation, we can finish on time. And let me introduce the other co-chairs, please.
Yes, hello, good afternoon also from my side. My name is Rolf Ellegast. I'm director of the Institute for Occupational Health and Safety in Germany of the Social Accident Insurance, and I'm looking forward to this afternoon session.
All right, thank you.
Yes, our next speaker is Jonas Stein. Jonas Stein is the head of our laboratory for industrial security at IFA, Institute for Occupational Health and Safety of the German Social Accident Insurance. And that's also the topic of your presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much for your kind introduction. Konnichiwa and good day, everyone. Before this session, I had a short talk with Hiro Kanemaru, and we agreed both that this topic is very dangerous for our industry, dangerous for our people working in the industry, and the hazard is imminent, and we have to act very quickly now. And we agreed that we want to extend our international cooperation, and this is also what this talk is about, how to communicate and how to work together worldwide. Before I start with my talk, with my slides, I want to share a story with you, a real story of my friend who is a security researcher, or white hat hacker, as we sometimes say. And he found a security issue in a company, and he wanted to report this security issue. But he couldn't find the right contact. So imagine you find out that there's a critical security issue and you want to report it because you're an honest person, but you do not know whom to tell. And he was in that situation. And he tried to send the message to the info@email address of the company, but the response was from the PR manager. And he said, no, in our company everything is fine. We have no problems. There can't be any security issue. So he wrote again, oh, I know there is really a big security issue. There's a vulnerability in your controllers. We have to talk about that. And this procedure went over and over again. And it took 6 months until this information arrived at the right person. And they were so glad about this information that they not only fixed the security issue, but also offered him a permanent position, and he's still working there today. So what can we learn from this? We need some way to find out who is the right person to contact. We need to be more transparent on this. And in this talk, we will find one solution for this problem. So, especially for SMEs, it's often unclear who is in charge to get this information. And even for larger companies, it's not visible for the external persons. And you need a contact where you can transfer this information in a confidential way, so that not everybody in the canteen is talking about that, but only you and the person that needs the information. And there is a solution, and luckily, it's a simple solution. A simple solution that you can adopt for your company, and you can spread to all your friends, and just takes 5 minutes to implement. There's an international standard. It's this RFC 9116. where it is defined to set up a little text, and this little text file will be placed on your website in a kind of hidden place, but all security researchers and all governmental security institutions worldwide know this place. So you have a kind of emergency phone to call. And you see on the bottom right side an example of this file. It's just 3 lines. And one very handy option is that you can add what is the language that you want to communicate in. Imagine someone who writes me an important message and it's written in French or in Japanese. I cannot speak Japanese, I cannot speak French. Perhaps I would expect it spam and would delete it, and all is lost. And here you can add what is the preferred language so that the information arrives properly. And then you have in the top line, for example, an email address and expiry date. How long will this information be current? And then you can simply use your website and then well-known and security.txt. We prepared a short film for the decision maker, because very often you find out that the engineers, they say, yeah, I know, that's a very good idea, but you have to convince my boss. He must make the decision, and I do not know how to do this. So we took all this information together and discussed this also with our governmental security agency and prepared with all the information a short movie. And when we are talking about international cooperation and that everybody uses the same standard, then it's also important to translate it in as many languages as possible, because for a complicated topic, you need the information in your mother language, in your mother tongue. And we translated it also in Japanese. If you scan the QR code, you get the movie in Japanese. And now let's have a look at the movie with English subtitle and the Japanese audio.
セキュリティの脆弱性を持つ産業用制御システムは危険です。これらは設計やプログラミングのミスによって引き起こされます。エラーは全く異なる制御システムにも影響を及ぼす可能性があります。例えば、複雑な産業用システムから工作機械や空調システムまでです。ネットワーク化された産業用制御システムへの攻撃は、経済的な損害を与えるだけでなく、従業員の健康にも影響を与える可能性があります。セキュリティの脆弱性は迅速に発見し、解決する必要があります。現実には致命的な脆弱性が発見されても、社内の誰に責任があり、誰に通知する必要があるのかが明確でないことが多いものです。これが明確になるまでセキュリティギャップは存在し続けます。プラントや機械は脆弱なままです。したがって全ての会社は固定した連絡担当者を任命し、その連絡先の詳細が簡単に分かるようにすべきです。国際規格 RFC9116 は簡単な解決策を提供し無料で利用できます。この規格では security.txt という名前のファイルを定義しており、標準化された場所に保存され、人間も機械も読むことができます。このファイルのアドレスは世界中のセキュリティ研究者や監督機関に知られており、緊急時にはすぐに取り出すことができます。会社のウェブサイトには悪影響はありません。迅速なアクセスはセキュリティ管理の重要な要素です。
It has a clear benefit for the company to have this emergency contact. And it's so simple to implement that we could convince many companies already. We've been in 2023 in Sydney at the World Conference and also in 2 security conferences in Australia and could spread the word. And nowadays, Siemens, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Bosch, SIG, Pilz, they all adopted it, and now it's your turn to adopt this in your company. And my summary would be what to do now, what's the homework, what take home to the company to benefit now from this session. So that's not just colorful slides, but a benefit for you. First, go to the website internet.nl. This is by the Dutch government. It's a website that will test your homepage and will find security issues and also check if you have properly set up the emergency contact. If you have not set up any emergency contact yet, then you can visit our website and there you will find the manual how to do it and also the video. And JP Cert in Japan also suggests to do this in this blog entry and the QR code on the bottom side. I added all links in the LinkedIn page from me. So for this session, all additional links you can have. You can also take pictures. And tomorrow we want to dive into that deeper in Hall F, 10 o'clock. Cranes, easy to hack, hard to stop. We will dive into the industrial security, global responsibility, and we will see how did it look like when there was a real attack on a steelwork and people had to run away. It's the first time I show you this video on stage. I've never showed it before, but tomorrow, first time, and you can see it. 14 o'clock in the afternoon, and I would be glad if we see us again. And here is my contact if there are any questions left, or you have some questions perhaps now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Jonas Stein. Are there any questions? You have, okay, sorry. Please use the mic because of the translator.
Thank you, Jonas. So I have attended the comment for Japanese, okay? Because you say so JP Sato, CC is the most famous cybersecurity counter media organization. So if you have want any information about the OT cybersecurity manufacturing system, so you have to contact with CSSC 共同研究組合制御システムセキュリティセンター、今東北大学の中にあります。でそことコンタクトを取ると、制御システムについて一番よく分かっているメンバーいますので、そちらにご相談されることをお勧めします。あともう一つは IPA の産業セキュリティセンター。今日本では3つの組織が頑張ってますので、もし分からないところがあったら JP-SAT-CC と CSSC と IPA の産業セキュリティセンターにコンタクトを取っていただければ、一応全部絡んでますので、ご相談になります。お願いします。Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for explaining it a bit more clearer. Thank you. And that's what it's about. It's to communicate internationally, worldwide, and this is exactly what we need. People that transfer to their home country the information so we can spread it easily over the world. Thank you.
All right. Then next speakers, which is made by my colleague, Mr. Pierre Silva from Schneider Electric, and he has another very interesting the viewpoints. You can just listen. So Pierre, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Toshi. Good afternoon, everyone. 10 to 20%. What is it? What does it mean? 10 to 20% of what? What are you talking about? Is it a small number or is it a big threat for us? We don't know. 10 to 20% is the commonly accepted estimate of non-compliant and counterfeit products that are available on the market. And this figure can be even higher when we talk about the online marketplace, typically. So that means that some of the products used in this room probably are non-compliant or counterfeit, and we even don't know. So that's why I'd like to take a few minutes to explain why market surveillance is essential for the customers, the citizens, and for the governments. I'm pleased to be part of this International Symposium, of course. And I would like to thank the organizer to inviting me to speak on this topic. And thank you all for being there. So my name is Pierre Salva. I work for Schneider Electric, a French company which is globally present in the world. And I want to say anything more about my company. That's not the purpose of today. I'm the Vice President for Conformity Assessment and Market Surveillance in the company. And I'm deeply involved internationally, trying to setting up some programs everywhere in the world. But I would say that's my daily job, and my night job is that I'm also quite involved in the IEC, the International Electrotechnical Commissions, where I'm the treasurer of this organization, and it's around 50% of my time. So why talk about market surveillance here? Why focus on this 10 to 20% of non-compliant and counterfeit products? As you've heard throughout this symposium and seen at this amazing EXPO 2025 in Osaka, the technology is everywhere, as you know, improving the lives of citizens and workers. We see both well-established and emerging technologies, not always fully adopted or understood by the people. Artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, electrical safety, environmental concerns, these are all critical topics that can have positive or negative impact, depending on how we manage them. But to better understand what is for us the global landscape where we are active in, I believe it's important to understand that. From a manufacturer perspective, all these topics, the one we are talking about, are crucial for building a sustainable business. And that lasts for decades, earns customer loyalty, and delivers long-term value. To access a market or to sell products, we must comply with regulations. These can be national or regional, and they define the technical requirements, usually what we call the standards, and how to demonstrate the compliance, what we call conformity assessment. In some countries like Japan, regulations require some conformity mark on the electrical product. For example, the PSC mark for the electrical safety or the GATE mark for the telecom equipment. But beyond mandatory marks, some manufacturers also use voluntary ones, like the NF mark in France, for example, to build customer trust and highlight the product quality. Customers too often look for certification marks. In Germany, for instance, the GS mark is seen as a safety guarantee and is often a prerequisite for selling product. But I would say that all of this works well in a perfect world. And the world is not perfect. So that's why we need market surveillance. Some actors are cheating, putting non-compliant, hazardous, and/or counterfeit products on the market. Sorry. A recent report by the OECD and the EU IPO, published just 2 months ago, entitled Mapping the Global Trade in Fakes 2025, reveals some alarming figures. Counterfeit goods alone represent a global market worth around $467 billion in the world, 2.3% of the total global imports. In Europe only, that's around $117 billion, or 4.7% of the EU global import. The non-compliant goods are estimated to worth at least as much. So that means combined, we are talking here about $1,000 billion every year, equivalent to the 20th largest economy in the world, comparable to Switzerland, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, for example. So what is also interesting to look at in this report are the different products category. You can see here that the electrical machinery and the electronics ranks the 4th among the affected categories. Medical devices, vehicles, mechanical appliances are also high on the list. Inclusion of vehicles can be a little bit surprising, but in fact here we are talking about the spare parts of vehicles. So just imagine the consequence to have a non-compliant brake pad or a faulty safety device in your car. To better understand the importance of market surveillance, let's look at a real-world example, quite easy one, which is about the energy efficiency in buildings. Most of you are familiar with the benefits of reducing energy consumption in a building. Many countries have launched programs, often with incentives, to support these goals. Typical program, and I'm not an expert of that, I will just give you a very simple one, which is to analyze the situation, to study a solution, provide the solution, and also measure the results. Sounds simple, but the goal is not to explain how we can do it here in this session. But at every stage, you need confidence. Confidence in the measurement, quality of the measurement. Are they accurate? Are you measuring the true value? This is a true example. Which one is the right figures, the right measure? Qualification and skill of the personnel and the teams. Are the teams qualified? Do they understand the process and provide the best solution? Compliance of the equipment and offers proposed to the customer at the end. The compliance of the equipment, will the solution deliver the expected results? Can you trust the new equipment that will be installed, especially if it's safety related? So, how to develop, how to be confident? The first thing you can do is to trust the brand. You know the brand, you're confident with them, and you are not looking for anything else. You can also look at the certification and accreditation, certification of the products, accreditation of the people, and I believe it will be part of a next session also. But again, this works very well in a perfect world. And we are not in a perfect world. We are facing some rogue operators on the market, and the only way to deal with them is through a strong market surveillance by official bodies. And an official market surveillance stands and relies on three pillars. The first one is the legitimacy. You must be authorized to do that. If you act alone and report a competitor, the authorities may question your motives. Without legitimacy, your action can backfire. The second pillar is about resources in the market surveillance authority. You need people, enough of them, and funding to buy products, to run tests, to keep up with evolving threats like AI and cyber risk. If you don't have enough people, you cannot do a strong market surveillance. And the last one is about the skills. The surveillance covers a very vast range, from clothing to food, medical devices, vehicle parts. Each require different expertise. So, two of these pillars, resource and skills, are under pressure everywhere in the world today. Budget constraint and the pace of technological change are major challenges. So how to answer this very, very big issue? So how do we respond? We need to look at some step further, in fact, and to think out of the box somewhere. We believe that there are at least two viable options. The first is to leverage the digital tools. The AI-powered systems can track the work products and respond quickly to market disruption. This is not just viable, it's essential if we want to make progress. The second is to strengthen the public-private partnership. And I've been advocating that for more than a decade right now. Even if it's not fully successful, at least we had some success in Europe and beyond with some initiative like what we call the Market Surveillance Support Initiative, MSSI in Europe, where we have today 11 countries that are active. But this partnership requires a very strong framework with independence, neutrality, thorough controls, and mutual trust. And we are not there yet, but I'm confident we can make progress in the coming years, and I still have time ahead of me, in fact. So to conclude and to answer the question of that presentation, why is market surveillance key for citizens, industry, and government? Of course, you can read the slides, but I believe that I will say it out loud. So for the governments, in first, it ensures the citizen safety, as mentioned before, support a fair competition and protect the public investment. Remember that some of the actions we are doing for energy efficiency, they rely on some incentives provided by by the countries and the governments, so to be sure of the right use of money. For the industry, of course, it creates a level playing field, allowing fair competition based on value. And for the citizens, it guarantees a safe, compliant, and environmentally friendly products, and in our example, to lower the energy bills somewhere. So if you want to make a safe buy, you need to be confident. So that concludes my presentation. I would like to thank you very much for your attention, and thank you again to the organizer to inviting me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pierre. It is a really interesting issue, and yeah, let me give Flores any comment or question about his presentation. Any comment or question? Yes, please.
And so, of course, for the product, your marketing surveillance is very important. I agree. But now, AI, big data, we have to focus not only product, data. So we want to start to discuss about CMC AI task force. So we have to challenge much problem, not only products.
Yes,
so
you're
it means,
right.
Kajiya-san, CMC may be busy more.
I fully agree with you. Data is one of the key issues in the future, and it's why I was talking about AI, about cybersecurity, and so on. That's the next step, and how to go further for that. Thank you very much for your point.
Yeah, thank you, Kanawara-san. And any other questions or comments? If there is no, let me give you just a simple and a basic question to you. I know that you are very much involved in market surveillance activities in European level. And I'm always wondering how this kind of activity influence to your company's operation. This is since our theme is for the employees' safe and health and their well-being. So I think somewhat positive impact to your company's employees by your leadership.
Yeah, you're right, Toshi. I believe that, in fact, there are two levels of impact when we are talking about that activities. The first one is on the turnover of the company. I was saying that 10 to 20% of the business is not our business. In fact, it's done with counterfeited products and with non-compliant products. So that means 10 to 20% of the business, globally speaking, is not accessible to us. And every year we are challenging our sales office and our front office to make 1, 2, 3% increase on the total turnover they are making in the country. So that means there is somewhere an opportunity just by having less non-compliant product. I'm fully aware that we will never reach a level of 0, but at least we can try to limit the increase on that one. And if we are talking about people in our companies, when we are making some power test in our high power labs, people are using, and that was one of the pictures, some personal protective equipment. We need to be sure that they are compliant with their rules, because if they are in front of a flash or things like that, as shown in my presentation, imagine that if the personal protective equipment is not at the right level. So that's the same thing for everything we are doing in our daily life at work. If the chair is not compliant with the rules, you can fall, but it can be a simple fall or with severe consequence. So everything is impacted by market surveillance somewhere. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And the applause again. Thank you very much again.
Yes, the next speaker is also from Germany again, from IFA. It's Stefan Otto. He is a research officer in our department for machine safety. And his topic today is defeating of safeguards on machinery.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. Yeah, my name is Stefan Otto. I'm working at the Institute for Occupational Safety and Health of the German Social Accident Insurance. And in my presentation, yeah, like was already introduced, I want to show you the results of a recent survey on the defeating of safeguards and highlight some preventive measures. The term defeating refers to the intentional dismantling, bypassing, or rendering ineffective of a machine safeguard without applying supplementary measures that would reduce the increased risk to a sufficiently low level by other means. Safeguards are prone to defeating when they are perceived as a hindrance to perform a specific work task in a scheduled manner. The intention is usually to perform the task faster, more effectively, more precisely, or to avoid otherwise resource-consuming downtime or production rejects. Defeating of safeguards is one of the root causes of accidents on stationary machinery. Since in 2006, a study revealed that more than 30% of safeguards in the metalworking industry were bypassed, the topic is increasingly being addressed in standards and regulations. On European level, in the Machinery Directive, the recent Machinery Regulation, ISO 12100, or with more practical detail in the standards concerning interlocking devices and fixed guards. Manufacturers are now obliged to prevent possible incentives for the defeating of safeguards from arising and to take measures to prevent defeating itself either by inherently safe construction, obstruction, or detection. Regarding the machine operator, the topic gets addressed in the German regulations implementing the European Directive on the Use of Work Equipment, which is the Industrial Safety Ordinance and the associated technical regulations. Additionally, the German Social Accident Insurance publishes regulations with practical guidance on how to prevent defeating, both for manufacturers and operators alike. The latter publications are developed by a permanent expert working group of the German Social Accident Insurance institutions that consists of representative experts and is headed by the IFA. Additionally, there is an international expert working group that is headed by the section of Machine and System Safety of the ISSA. A lot of the material being developed is translated into English and is made available on the website stopdefeating.org, which is, to my knowledge, the only website on the internet which is solely dedicated to the prevention of defeating safeguards. To estimate the current extent of the problem, the IFA has recently conducted an online survey. The target group were safety engineers and OSH experts and other employees entrusted with work safety, industrial and machine operating companies. Overall, 850 persons participated. A detailed discussion of the survey results can be found on our website. I now want to present to you a few of its findings. Asked to estimate the development over the past 10 years, the participant, as you can see, gave a mixed response, where one half believes the incidence of defeating is declining, the other half sees no change or even observed an increase. According to the respondents, safeguards are regularly tampered with on around a quarter of our machinery, on 17% temporarily and only for the performance of a certain task, and on 10% permanently, regardless on whether or not it's necessary for the current activity being performed. Participants were also asked about their experience with accidents and near accidents. Overall, half of the respondents indicated that an accident or near accident caused by a defeated safeguard had already occurred, while 1 in 4 respondents answered that an accident has actually happened. However, the most eye-catching results were the answers to the questions if safeguard had already been defeated with the awareness of a superior, meaning that the defeating had been openly or silently tolerated by leadership. Over half of the respondents said the defeating had already occurred with a superior's knowledge, while only 1 in every 6 respondents was able to answer the question with an unequivocal no. In the following, these two groups were compared, As can be seen, the proportion of defeated machinery rises significantly when superiors are neglectful about the topic. In those companies, it is a third of our machinery that is exposed to defeating, which is 1.5 times higher than in other companies. With 1 in every 10 machines being permanently defeated, the number is even double as high. The higher amount of safeguards being defeated also leads to a significant increase in the actual accident rate, which is twice as high as in other companies. It is important to acknowledge that bypassing never happens without a reason. Studies and interviews with operators have shown that safeguards are not defeated when there is no incentive to do so. Conversely, this means that disciplinary actions as a sole means of prevention are not sufficient to prevent unsafe behavior in the long term. While in recent years the attention has largely been paid to design or construction-related issues like poor machine design or ergonomics as incentives for bypassing, recent studies show that a company's safety culture and behavioral biases of the individual operator play a key role as well. Preventive measures can only be effective when these underlying causes are eliminated or sufficiently mitigated. While technical countermeasures during the construction of the machine prevail as the first means to prevent incentives from arising, organizational measures that help promote critical thinking, safety awareness, and participation are almost equal in their importance. To prevent defeating of safeguards in the long term requires the consideration of potential causes in all machine-relevant processes, both on the manufacturer's and the operator's side, and a thorough communication between and a sufficient training of all parties involved. Both the risk analysis of the manufacturer and a regularly iterated job safety analysis of the operator must include the possibility of safeguards being defeated and take measures to prevent incentives to do so from arising. You can find detailed explanations for each of these steps of the process on the aforementioned website stop-defeating.org. What are our learnings from the survey and what is our homework? First of all, the survey revealed in a shocking clarity that leadership behavior plays a key role when it comes to prevent safeguards from being defeated. Managers must insistently be made aware of the consequences of their acts and omissions. Best practice examples of good corporate culture must be offered and disseminated. When looking at the occasions for which safeguards are being defeated, operators often seem to be left on their own when it comes to troubleshooting or fault rectification. Both manufacturers and operating companies urgently need new impulses that allow for developing a more flexible safeguarding on one hand and a safe routine on the other for such occasions. A publication with practical guidance on best practice examples for safe fault rectification is next on the agenda of the German expert working group. In Germany, the IFA also offers workshops for management, safety engineers, and machine operators dedicated to the prevention of safeguards. For such occasions, the IFA uses a demonstration model from which obstructing measures to prevent defeating can be learned. The demonstrator can be seen and tested at our IFA booth here at the Intex. Currently, there's a second demonstration model in the development with a focus on best practice construction examples. For any questions or feedback, or if you're interested in translating content of Stop Defeating website into Japanese or providing subtitles for the educational films, you are sincerely invited to get in contact. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Stefan Otto. Yes, you mentioned there's a demonstrator downstairs. You can show it. You can show some examples of defeating. So it's interesting to see what kind of manipulations are done in industry. Are there any questions? Yes, Mr. Ushita.
Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. I had opportunity to have your presentation during we visited Finland, Tampere last year. Yeah. So I'd like, it's very nice to see you again. Thank you for your visit to Japan. And I have a question regarding the connection to the Vision Zero activity. Yes. as in the final portion, you mentioned about the corporate management.
Yes.
I know, I learned from Dr. Dietmar Reinhardt that the Vision Zero is very important, not only just doing the technical stuff, but the corporate management should, do the 7 steps to create the prevention culture. So how the Vision Zero activity is relating to the reduction of such defeating? Are there any such research, or you have any relationship between the corporate strategy implementation versus defeating?
The management, the problem is with, when it comes to defeating safeguards, that we need an eye-to-eye level communication between management and the operator, because it is very important. The operator needs to be taken seriously in his work and his problems at the workspace, and he needs to be able to talk about this openly. And management must be open for this kind of feedback, or otherwise it will not be possible to prevent defeating in the long term. For otherwise, the defeating will happen when nobody is watching. So, and the Vision Zero, has a lot. I think it's a lot of parallel when you're looking to, like I've shown on my presentation is gone. Like when I go to, I'm sorry. When you go to this side, you see that defeating takes place on all levels of the company, from the design to, it spreads over all over processes. Like for example, the sales department needs to be trained regarding safety issues, and so it's kind of an holistic approach that needs to be taken when you really want to prevent defeating in the long term. I don't know if it answered your questions, but maybe I touched it.
Okay. So I think one of your questions was that the activity to prevent the defeating has an impact on the decrease of accidents. That is one of your, and we have some campaigns in Germany about that, prevention campaigns, just to know that the management is gets some knowledge about it and is is then trying to not to support, as you showed. There's a lot of support of the management of defeating, because it's there's a connection to performance often. And I think the activities we are doing since the last decade shows an impact. There is much more knowledge nowadays, so we can't show it with figures now with accidents, but you said your survey get 57% that there is a decrease. It's one half, so we see some results of the activities of the last year. It's not only the zero accident campaign. There are several campaigns and several activities, and I think the work is coming to the companies, and we see the effects.
Yeah. So there's a lot of focus been taken on machine design recently, machine design, machine construction, but we now see that one of the root problems is actually management tolerance regarding safeguards being defeated, because safety and productivity do not always align.
There's another question.
Thank you. That's not a question, it's a comment. I think it's always about leadership. Yes. And if safety and health is the first priority in leadership, that's the key to everything. And that's what the Vision Zero tells, and that's about this event here. And in Germany, we often don't get the contact to the managers, we often talk to operators or to safety persons in the in the enterprise, but not to the managers. And that is the way to stop this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your comment, and thank you again for the presentation, Stefan Otto.
All right, then comes to our next speakers, and next speaker is Mr. Tim Duffy from Rockwell Automations. He will speak about the future of the company operation, which should be interesting. Go ahead, please, Tim.
Thank you, Toshi. Thank you for inviting me. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here. As Toshi indicated, I'll try to talk a little bit about the future. And it ties together with the safety culture and has to do with designing safe, smart, efficient factories and using emerging technologies. So as we look at this wonderful picture of a future world here, the top part here talks about starting young. When I say starting young, I don't mean like starting young with me or Toshi. I think maybe we have to start a little bit younger than that. So actually, in my younger days, I had the honor of being an engineering mentor to 3 of my children, along with some of their classmates when they were around the age of 12 or 13. The reason for the mentoring was a program and a competition through their school, and that competition was called Future City. It's very nice to see that in EXPO 2025, there's actually a pavilion that is titled Future City. I look forward to seeing what's envisioned there. But the Future City competition that I was the engineering mentor for, it's an international engineering competition that focuses on creating an interest in and improving students' knowledge of science, technology, engineering, and math skills, or STEM. Teams of 5 people, along with a mentor and a coach, work to design a futuristic city aiming to mitigate the issues presented on that year's theme. Each year the theme is different, and it has a different problem that is looked to be solved. During the process of designing their cities, they're also exposed to a program called SimCity. So it's just a software program that it allows for the open-ended city building, and it's a video game, but it exposes the children to various aspects of planning a city. The process also exposes the students to many engineering disciplines, from civil engineering to electrical engineering to environmental engineering. That's an excellent opportunity to start young in the training of our future engineers. So the software program gets the designers to think about various impacts related to growth in cities. As they add more people, more buildings are added, more cars are added, more power plants are added, resulting in more pollution, unless you choose the right solutions. Adding more people to pay for power plants that you just added impacts other services, such as transportation, groceries, disposal, etc. Essentially, when you look at it, there are no free additions to your city, and each aspect that you add has a consequence. I think it's a good life lesson that we should all pay attention to. An important part is also the planning of green spaces, again, similar to the EXPO, where green spaces were prominently featured. So now that we've designed our city and we take our future engineers, let's see what that future city now looks like. So one of the things when you start looking at our younger generations, they have some experience with different types of mixed, augmented, or virtual reality technologies. So now we can take the computer simulation that we've experienced in SimCity, and we can transport ourselves to that city using this newer technology. Imagine being able to see the impact of your choices in a simulated virtual or augmented reality. Take a walk down the streets, but you better watch out for some of the rubbish piles because you maybe didn't plan for that. Walk your parks, take a subway trip. You might have to experience a long wait time because you didn't plan your services very well for transportation. All of this is possible with a virtual or augmented reality, and it allows for a virtual simulation of our environment. So now that we have our next generation engineers trained and they've done their city planning, we can turn our attention to the planning of our manufacturing environments. Using the lessons learned from the city planning, we can start the process of planning our factory. We can view the location of our factory virtually. We can work to build the exterior. We can walk around the location. Then we can get to work on planning the inside of our factory. So what does that virtual planning look like? There's essentially a bunch of key process stages that are involved in this virtual commissioning and include essentially the first thing here is the needs assessment. It's kind of like with any project plan, the first step involves establishing or assessing what our needs are. This stage defines the goals of the simulation, identifies target users, and establishes product scope and budget. Next step involves data acquisition and modeling. Here's where we assemble the 3D models of the equipment, the model of the facilities, and a determination of the products. Most importantly, for the proper simulation, you have to look at the relevant data on physics and the interactions. Following the model, we move to the development and programming, kind of self-explanatory, but a key part of that is determining which AR, VR, MR platform is to be used so that we can build the core functionalities and user interactions for that simulation. Once the programming has been completed, we move to the testing and refinement of the virtual installation. The simulation undergoes rigorous testing by the users and developers. It identifies and addresses any bugs or usability issues. In the final stage, the simulation is deployed to the target audience or to our customer. This is often accompanied by training materials and support resources. Many of these tools for virtual commissioning are available and in use today. The simulated factory can now be virtually commissioned with all the aspects of your typical physical world factory. The use of simulation and virtual commissioning allows for a full analysis of the throughput and other factors in your proposed installation. With traditional commissioning, one of the moments that you dread is when you get to the point and you're now doing controls testing on a new machine. At a customer startup, you discover a problem. That's not the time that you want to find a problem. You want to find it much earlier. It can be anything from a functionality problem, unexpected stoppage, missing sensors, last-minute customer concerns, whatever the issue may be. One of the things that you find is fixing these can be quite expensive. Some companies, in fact, report that fixing machine issue during commissioning can be up to 100 times more expensive than fixing it in the design phase. So it's basically for these reasons that some machine designers are adopting virtual commissioning. Using the digital model and simulation of your machine to perform controls testing before you even build a machine can help identify design and, most importantly, safety issues early in the build cycle. With factories and safety critical functions, there are tools that are just beginning to be used that can greatly enhance the safety and productivity of our future factories. With the ingrained safety culture that we've had with our future city participants, complete risk assessments related to the operation and installation that can now be conducted virtually. A full safety analysis, including the ergonomic assessment, can be performed while walking through your virtual factory. This includes looking at many different factors, including cyber concerns, as I previously mentioned, ergonomic concerns. You can then take the risk assessment that you're conducting virtually, and you can use that to mitigate any risks prior to actual physical build. With the virtual commissioning, you can walk through the factory alongside the virtual robots to find any areas of concern with coboting. Finally, your installation can proceed to full simulation, run mode, and now you can fine-tune your throughput. With the safety culture as a primary factor, you can be assured that your installation will be both safe and productive. AI can be a valuable tool in the entire simulation world, from physical modeling, incorporating data on physics and interactions, to assistance in identifying and mitigating risks to ensure a safe installation. This final slide here is a summary of the many benefits of virtual commissioning and simulation. As you can see, we can quickly create models of our installation, prove the concept, analyze areas of concern, fine-tune our system, verify the installation, and perform our safety and ergonomic assessments and checks. This is all before we break ground on an installation. With factories and safety-critical functions, there are tools that are just beginning to be used that can greatly enhance the safety and productivity of our future factories. Continuous improvement and innovation are foundational, while ensuring alignment with industry-wide safety regulations and quality control standards. I hope this has given you something to ponder in this exciting new world where technology and safety converge. And I look forward to seeing how the youth of today design the factories of tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, team, and very much the interesting informations. Any comment or question from the floor? No? Please stand up.
You have one misunderstanding. Age is only a number. You are still young.
Thank you.
Any other? If there is no, let me give you just one simple question. I think in your presentation, there was no mentioning about a human aspect after such an emerging technology introduced into the daily operation. So how do you think about, let's say, psychological aspects of working motivation for the employees?
It's a really good question, and I think it plays into some of the presentations that we had earlier. From a health and well-being standpoint, from a defeating of safeguards, from designing safety into the installation, it is all related to the health and well-being of the employees. The employees that not only are designing the equipment, they have the opportunity to work in advance. The use of emerging technologies in monitoring the safeguards that you designed, whether you designed them virtually and employed them physically, are all aspects that I think in the future, when we look at the emerging technologies and the possibility of cameras, sensors, and other technologies that will allow for this safer installation, the safer factory, and the ability of the employees to not have to worry as much about the safety in the areas that they are working. Yeah, I think it probably has a lot to do with the safety culture, analyzing the throughput, having the peak productivity assessment conducted in advance of the actual build to be able to eliminate the need to defeat things like the safeguards.
All right. All right. Thank you very much again, and which is very much interesting information. So finally, applause again. Thank you very much. All right, then next comes to Mr. Masahiko Adiyama, who is working for the Japan Certification Corporation, dealing with the safety assessor programs. Adiyama-san, please.
はい、皆さん、こんにちは。私は有山雅彦と申します。ジャパンサーティフィケーションコーポレーションに所属しております。次お願いします。本日お話ししますのは、セーフティ 2.0 と、要因認証の関係です。セーフティ 2.0 と要因認証がどのような関係にあるのか、あるいは全く関係がないのか、そのことについて今日は考えていきたいというふうに思います。まず、セーフティ 2.0、セーフティ 2.0 という表現ですけども、これは全く我々としては協調安全と同じ意味で使っております。なぜセーフティ 2.0 というのかは後ほど説明をいたします。まず、セーフティ 2.0 協調安全の歩み歴史ですけども、2016年に、セーフティグローバル推進機構 The Institute of Global Safety Promotion、我々 EXPO と呼んでおりますけども、この2016年に EXPO は設立しましたが、この時から協調安全というものを普及の努力をしております。2018年には、セーフティ 2.0 の審査登録制度というものをスタートいたしております。また、2019年には、日本の行政機関であります経済産業省がこの協調安全の普及について、あるいは国際標準化についての支援を表明をしております。それから2020年ですけども、IC のホワイトペーパーであります Safety in the Future、これが発行されております。本年2025年ですけども、すでに IEC の A コスですね、でガイド127、127がですね、今発行準備中で、おそらく本年もしくは来年には発行されるという状況です。また合わせて、SC65A ではですね、IEC の、63662がすでに、議論が開始されているという状況で、これもですね、標準化が進んでいくというふうに、見ております。先ほど申しましたセーフティ 2.0 ですけども、我々はセーフティ 0.0 およびセーフティ 1.0 およびセーフティ 2.0 を以下のように区別しております。まずセーフティ 0.0 ですが、これは人の注意による安全、これを我々は作業安全と呼んでおりますけれども、まずこれがセーフティ 0.0 です。セーフティ 1.0 ですけれども、これは機械による安全、主に隔離による安全を指しております。それでセーフティ 2.0 ですけれども、これは情報共有による安全、それぞれインフォメーションを交換することによって安全を維持するという考え方です。このそれぞれの安全 0.0、1.0 および 2.0 は それぞれ複合して使用されるというのが、今の一般的な考え方であります。まず協調安全ですけども、この先ほど申し上げました IEC のホワイトペーパーではですね、トライパートシステムという表現で、協調安全を説明をしております。人からの情報、あるいは機械からの情報、あるいは環境からの情報、それぞれが情報を共有するという考え方をトライパートシステムという表現で説明をしております。まずその協調安全について少し具体的な事例を挙げて説明をしたいと思います。これは自動車のですね、レベル1およびレベル2を想定した自動運転の事例です。人からの情報というのは自動車にですね、人の行動がどのような行動をしているのかというのが自動車、つまり機械の方に伝達されます。で、自動車の方からは人の行動に対するですね、警報なり誘導なりというですね、信号を情報を与えます。それから環境からですね、車の方には道路の状況であるとか、あるいはですね、運転の状況というものが機械の方に伝えられる。あるいは環境からはですね、同じようにですね、規制の状況、例えば速度制限でありますとか、一方通行であるとか、そういった情報が人には与えられる。それぞれがですね、人、機械、つまり自動車、環境がですね、情報共有することによって、より一層の安全を保つという考え方が協調安全の考え方であります。次にですね、安全についての要因認証の歩みについて説明をします。2004年にですね、日本電気制御技術工業会というですね、工業会と私どもの日本認証が2004年にセーフティアセッサー資格制度をスタートしております。2017年には安全要因認証制度のですね、新規が IEC および ICE で開始されております。2019年には機械安全に関する要因の力量ですね、これについての実規格が発行されております。日本の工業産業規格であります実規格が発行されております。本年2025年ですけれども、CMC のワーキンググループ34において、人材能力の認証を制度化するワーキングがすでに進行しております。来年2026年にはですね、ICE として要因認証安全に関する機械安全の要因認証制度が発行する予定でございます。で、現在日本における要因の力量認証のですね、現状について触れたいと思います。これは私ども日本認証がですね、行っておる要因力量認証の構成でございます。主に、セーフティアセッサーと呼ばれる技術者を対象とした認証および、管理者あるいは経営者を対象としたセーフティーオフィサーと呼ばれる認証制度、この2つが大きな流れとなっております。安全に関する要因力量認証の種類はたくさんありまして、 一つはですね、対象として、運転者、オペレーターを対象としたもの、それから技術系の認証制度、あるいはマネジメントを対象とした認証制度があります。それぞれ分野としては、機械安全、防爆安全、ロボット、あるいは建設というような分野に分かれております。すでにこれらの要員認証資格の推移でございますが、本年4月にはですね、3万8000人を超えておりますし、企業数としては2800社を超えているという状況で、比較的ですね、順調に伸びてきているというのが現状でございます。そこでですね、セーフティー 2.0 と、に対するですね、考え方でございますけども、安全についてですね、もちろん技術的な要素、このテクノロジーというのは非常にもちろん大事なわけですけども、これだけではですね、安全は確保できないというふうに考えております。まず、その安全を支えるには、必要な能力を有する安全技術者と、安全管理者が必要であるということ。これは、要は人の要因のですね、人の要因の力量に関するやはりレベルが必要であるということです。それから、マネジメント。これは主に仕組みといいますか、ルールとかですね、運用に関するですね、制度が必要であるということです。つまり、セーフティー 2.0 はテクノロジーおよび人の力量およびマネジメント、制度、この3つがあって初めて協調安全セーフティー 2.0 が実行できるというふうに考えておるところです。最後に結論ですけれども、先ほど申し上げましたように、セーフティー 2.0 は、2.0、協調安全は、テクノロジー、それから、パーソナルコンピテンシー、並びにマネジメントの3つの要素が必要であり、特に、安全の要因認証ですね、パーソナルコンピテンシーが非常に大事であるということからですね、この両者はですね、非常に重要な関係であり、切っても切れない、双方のですね、あって初めて相乗効果が発揮できるというふうに考えております。以上、私の方でですね、プレゼンテーションを終わりたいと思います。
はい、Thank you very much, Mr. Agiyama. Although we need to have some Q&A session, but as you may know, the time is quite concentrated, and I think it's better to go the last speakers from Mr. Yamaguchi, and thanks again, Akiyama-san, and again, applause. Thank you very much. So, last but not least, the Yamaguchi-san, another interesting presentation. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Toru Yamauchi. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to introduce our activities on the conformity assessment scheme of AI management systems. I am talking about mainly conformity assessment schemes as an accreditation body. And I don't talk about AI technology at all, like generative pre-trained transformer, ChatGPT, something like that. I don't talk about. Just I am talking about the conformity assessment schemes based on the ISO IC international standards. Okay. First of all, I would like to make some self-introduction. I am now working for GISHW, that is the general organization for promoting digital technology in Japan. And also I am the executive managing director for the ISMS Accreditation Center. ISMS means Information Security Management Systems, based on ISO IC 27001. I would like to my background. I used to be working in the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, METI. Around 30 years, I was in charge of industrial standardization policies and cybersecurity policy in METI. And, 10 years ago, I retired METI and I joined GISHW. I want to say that I worked with Toshiyuki Kajiya-san from 2013 to 2012 to 2013. I was working with Kajiya-san for the IEC CAB, that is the Conformity Assessment Board under the International Electrotechnical Commission. I am now doing so much activities, especially for the digital technologies, as well as conformity assessment schemes. AIMS is AI management system based on ISO IC 42001 that is issued 2 years ago. And as you know, utilization of IT is very important for social welfare as well as economic development, not only Japan, but also all the world, all the countries in the world. AI is important, but also it's very important for us to govern the AI. AI should be governed by us. AI management system is based on the international standards. We are now coordinating AI management system conformity assessment schemes. Just I would like to show you the short history on the AI. Actually, AI management system standards established in December 2023, December, and Japanese government, like METI and Ministry of International Affairs and Telecommunication, established AI guidelines, and also European Union established Artificial Intelligence Act. Actually, Japanese government also established the Act on the promotion of research and development and utilization of artificial intelligence technologies just 1 month ago. And I would like to say that Japanese approach is a little bit different from EU. Japanese government is focusing on the utilization and research and development of AI. Japanese government don't have strong regulation on AI governance. That's why I would like to say that utilization of the international standards should be more suitable for the development and promotion of AI in Japanese society. And last week, ISMS-AC, that is the accreditation body, started the conformity assessment bodies. We are starting the conformity assessment bodies like certification bodies for ISO IC 42001, that is AI management standards. This is the chart of the AIMS conformity assessment schemes based on international standards. ISO IC 42001 is the certification criteria, you know? So every organization has to be compliant to the 42001 as long as they would like to get the certificates based on 42001. That is the certification criteria. ISMS-AC is an accreditation body that is making assessment toward the certification bodies in Japan based on 42006. That is the accreditation criteria. And I am the top management of ISMS Accreditation Center. That is the accreditation body in Japan. As I told you, in Japan, ISO IC 27001 information security management system, very, very popular in Japan. And I want to say that 42001 is very similar to 27001. 42001 and 27001 is very, very similar. That's why I hope that the number of these certified organizations based on the 42001 in Japan will be increasing from now. That's what we are now planning. And I would like to say that ISMS-AC is compliant to the ISO IC 17011 for the requirement for accreditation body. By being aligned to the 17011, ISMS-AC can get to the status of the mutual recognition agreement under the International Accreditation Forum, IAF. Anyway, I would like to show the example of the certification based on the AIMS. And actually, US, Korea, China, or other Asia-Pacific countries, AIMS is getting very popular compared with European Union countries. I think that most certification bodies in European Union member countries not active on the ISO IC 42000 certification because they are now looking at what is happening to the European Union based on the EU AI Act. But US, Korea, China, Australia, and India, also Japan, we don't have so much strict regulation for the AI utilization. Maybe we are going to promote the conformity assessment schemes based on the international standards rather than having very, very strict act. Okay? And this is the accreditation activities toward the certification bodies. And as I told you, US, India, Asian countries, and UK, they are now trying to doing the accreditation activities toward AIMS certification bodies. This is the chart for the International Mutual Recognition Agreement based on the...
Sorry, one comment. We have 4 o'clock and there's another session going on.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but we are running a bit out of time.
International Accreditation Forum is the forum for the accreditation bodies, including ISMSAC, and we are a member of the Asia Pacific Accreditation Corporation. And I would like to say Asia Pacific Accreditation Corporation's role is going to be very, very important. This is including Japan, China, Korea, Southeast Asian countries, India, Middle East, and also Canada, America. Okay? And, Japanese lady got the award for the APAC Technical Excellence Award last month in Bengaluru, in India. And she is my colleague, and he is active on the mutual recognition agreement activities within the Asia Pacific field. And GIPTEC and ISMSAC, I have 2 hats. I am promoting the AIMS based on the GIPTEC, and also I am doing the accreditation job. I am the Director General for the ISMSAC as the accreditation body, and we are doing the accreditation activities for the Japanese certification bodies in Japan. I would like to you understand that AIMS community assessment scheme will be very, very important for promotion of AI in the society and the industry in the world. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Yamauchi. And although you, some of you may have the question or comment, but you can contact him individually later on. So now time is already over. So now let us finish this session, and I hope that you can get any hints for in your company operation for safety, health, and well-being. Thank you very much. And
yeah, also for me. Thank you.